When my girlfriend played through Dark Souls 3, one of her biggest gripes was when a boss would have an additional health bar. With that in mind, a lot of people, myself included, wondered how she'd handle the bosses from Dark Souls 3's DLCs. So naturally, when she told me she was in the mood to play more Souls, I set her up with the Ashes of Ariandel. It should come as no surprise that I'm happy to take any opportunity to make my girlfriend play Dark Souls 3 again. She actually discovered the Painted World when she arrived at the Cathedral of Deep. She just didn't know what it was. She never made any connections between this Painted World and the Painted World from Dark Souls 1. I didn't outright tell her this was the same world, but did try to nudge her in that direction. I'm not too shocked it went over her head, because other than half-breed Pucelle, I'm not sure how much she actually remembers from it. To her, most of the intrigue was in this new ice area to explore.
I can't see anything, oh my goodness. Wait, shit, this is where I came from. God damn it! It's a shiny. Oh my god! Oh, it was like an avalanche. Shit, I can't get back up there. Oh my god. Oh my god, more just keep coming. Okay. So is there like a bonfire down here now? Uh-oh. Oh my god, a giant wolf!
Between the two DLCs that Dark Souls 3 has to offer, I think it's safe to say that Ashes of Ariandel is the weaker one. This mainly comes down to it being so short. I actually remember it being a lot longer than it was, and was surprised at how quickly she went through it.
Oh! Run, 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 run. I do not trust this bridge. A bonfire! Thank God. Hello!
Welcome to the Painted World of Ariandel.
She seems nice.
I was in and out of the office while she explored, and it kept feeling like she was jump cutting through Ariandel.
Ha! I'm snowboarding! Holy shit. That guy was a douche. That guy's just straight out of Bloodborne. Like, what the hell is he doing here in the cold? Shiny! Ah! Man, Twinkly Boy, you were luring me, and that was not cool. Oh my god, there's like 2 of them in there? No, thank you. Shit. Oh! Doesn't open from the side.
No sooner would I come back to the room and she was at another bonfire. There are 2 boss fights to find in the first DLC, and they couldn't be any more different. After encountering the Grave Tender and his wolf, I think she might have gotten a bit of a false sense of security about how this DLC was gonna go. Despite being a rather short DLC, possibly the most notorious thing about Ariandel is the boss fight at the end. It's arguably one of the harder boss fights in the game, and so I was really curious how my girlfriend would do. The fight with Sister Friede isn't like anything she's seen in the base game, and watching her figure that out was priceless. She knows how dangerous human-sized bosses are, and on top of that, you already know how much she loves the extra health bars.
All I know is this type of shit doesn't open and this like not be a boss fight.
I would snuff out these ashes for good.
Oh shit. She's fast and I'm not. Where'd she go? Shit. Oh my god!
From whence thou camest, for that is thy place of belonging.
I don't think there's a place for heavy attacks here. What the hell? Okay, she just tracks me. I swear, she can only do that move because she's barefoot. I'm barefoot, I feel like I should be able to disappear too. It's kind of bullshit. I saw some like little footprint things. Die! Of course there's a second phase. Why wouldn't there be a second phase? He just sees those bare feet. Can't take it. I'm terrified! Oh my god. Look at how close I was! I feel like I'm starting to get a strategy for that second phase. It's just a matter of getting there so I can keep practicing. Okay, so I'm getting like smushed and frozen. That was like getting stuck between a rock and a hot place. Okay, okay. I can't even see it, but I did a parry. Woo! Yes! Oh, I fucking did it. Let's go! Woo! Oh my god. Wait. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Oh my god, okay. She's doing the same invisible stuff, but now she's on fire and ice. Oh, there she is. Oh my god. Okay, so don't get hit by that. Oh my god. After all that, there's another phase? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm so mad at this game.
She threw herself at the boss about a dozen more times after this, but after a while it started becoming more and more obvious she was making this a lot harder for herself than she needed to. For one thing, she wasn't getting a lot of opportunities to learn the third phase of the boss because she was burning through huge chunks of her healing on the first two phases. The easiest solution would have been to just get good at the first two phases. Problem with that is I know my girlfriend, and I know the higher her attempt number grows, the smaller her patience gets. As soon as she learned there'd be another phase to the fight, a lot of her phase 1 discipline went out the window and she started playing real sloppy. So instead I made her a suggestion that was a little more digestible. Over the course of her journey through Dark Souls 3, she wasn't exactly thorough. There was plenty that she missed in her playthrough, but my girlfriend has proven to me time and time again, you don't need completion in order to have fun. That being said, it's hilarious that she's been running around the game with stunted Estus because she missed half the shards. Now she finds herself in a position where she could really benefit from those extra doses of Estus. Although, we're in kind of a predicament because I couldn't necessarily just send her off to go and hunt for all the shards she missed. It was pretty clear that without direction, she'd have no chance of finding them all, let alone where to even start looking. While setting her loose aimlessly to wander around Lothric would be funny, she's got a boss fight to get back to. If only there was someone who knew where all the upgrade shards were who's played the game before that could help her out. I think you can tell where this is going, but I think she said it best.
A savvy warrior uses all her tools. Boyfriend required. Whoa, you look so cool just at the top of those stairs. Like looked up and just saw you just menacingly.
I am more than happy to kill you. You're missing 5, right?
Yes.
Do you remember which ones you got? I guess we'll take a scattershot approach.
Okay.
So, there's a chest here. You didn't get this chest.
Yo!
It's kind of dark in here, so I don't blame you for that one. I will blame you for probably all the other ones, though.
Be sure to bring more souls.
Be sure to bring more souls. The nice thing about this is you can't get invaded because I'm the invader.
That's like some kind of
Oh, what? You didn't kill the dragon?
You didn't slay the dragon?
It's on my to-do list. Now come on!
Was I supposed to?
Yeah, there's a way to do it.
Okay. Oh my god! You again?
Did you get the shard?
No. Oh, is it down there?
Oh, it should have been right here.
No, I don't see
Do you already have
anything.
this one? Great. Okay, you already have this one. This is gonna be so fun. Okay. Let's go to Earthil Dungeon.
Oh my god! I died.
Alright. And then there's this chest.
Oh my god! Nick! Oh my god, I didn't die because my health bar is like crazy long!
That was so worth it. God damn, you're powerful, huh?
Okay, cool, I got the Estus shard.
Oh man, where am I? Go down this ladder? No, I can't, because you never kicked it. Great. This is a ladder. That's a statement.
Yo,
Hello there.
what's up?
Finally. Oh. Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Taryn,
Thanks for helping me.
you're welcome. Dip your head in the wax.
Estus!
That's for falling down the elevator shaft.
Oh.
You gotta knock this bridge down.
I didn't know that it...
Ow.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. And then, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can climb down. Yeah, there you go. Like a ladder.
Oh my god! Like, so I guess I'm not going back the way I came.
Right on top of you.
Whoa! Oh my god, I missed a whole area.
Yeah, you did.
It's just kind of romantic.
You have a very funny version of romance. Alright.
Undead bow shard. Yeah, I'm hopelessly lost. I have no sense of direction in these games. But especially in catacombs and castles. Estus shard!
Beautiful. Okay, that's all of it.
Finally! Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Something I've noticed, not just with my girlfriend, but with how I play too, is that it's not so much that you need the extra Estus flasks, but rather you take comfort in knowing that they're there. The difference between having 2 sips of Estus left and 1 sip left isn't much, but the flip side of that is the difference between having 1 sip left and no sips is immense. This is to say that she wasn't magically able to beat Friede now that she had extra flasks,
What a bitch.
but what she did have was confidence.
Okay. Ow. Okay. Where is she? Bitch. Oh, he's so close. Nice. Okay. Okay, nice. Ow. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. Give me an opening. Okay.
Get down!
my god, sip, sip, sip. Oh. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Wait, there she is, okay. Fuck you! Yeah!
As much as I'd love to let her celebrate, she's far from done. That was only the first DLC, and the next one's a whole other animal, which makes what she said next all the more ironic.
Oh my god. That was like the hardest shit I've ever done.
Both DLCs were originally going to be packed into one video, but it turned out to be a bigger undertaking than either of us were expecting. So Ashes of Ariandel gets all the spotlight. Hopefully we'll see you next week for the Ring City.
Oh my god, this is a boss fight!